Hey guys, and welcome back to the Peteytown Piranhas, a college football 26 team builder dynasty. In this episode, we're going to be going through year 16 of the program, and last season we won another national championship, and we went where no college football team has gone before, as we won our 6th consecutive. And for head coach Petey Previtt, he passed Nick Saban's record of 7 as he won his 8th national championship. So a lot of history made last year, and we have a chance at doing a little more this year, as we're currently at 96 consecutive games won, and we're trying to get to 100 this year and then see how far we can go beyond that. So right now it's all about stacking and see how far we can get these accomplishments to go. So to start with, we are going to go over the schedule that we're working with this year, and then we're going to look at the team, and then coming back here we're going to be looking at our initial recruiting board, and then we'll get into our season. To start with, we're going to have a special kickoff game against Ole Miss in what is a rematch from a playoff game last season. And then we're going to host Oklahoma State and Miami. Then we're going to open up Big Ten play with UCLA. Then we're going to go travel to Iowa, then host Northwestern and Maryland. Then we'll have a bye week before we travel to Columbus to take on the Buckeyes. And then we're going to travel to Florida. And then to close out the year, we're going to have Wisconsin, Michigan State, and we're going to travel to Happy Valley yet again to take on Penn State. Once again, the Peteytown Piranhas enter this season ranked number 1 with 99s across the board in overall offense and defense. And our best player, they listed as Henry Carden, but he's a 97 true overall. But our 99 true overalls are Junior Nauta and Ramon De La Rosa. On the offensive side of the ball, we're going to be led at quarterback by Demetrius Telfort, who is a redshirt sophomore with Elite Dev. He's going to be taking over for Greg Proctor, so some pretty big shoes to fill there, but I believe Demetrius is up for it. And then in the backfield, we're going to have Adrian Grudadaria. And then for our fullback, it's going to be junior Daniel Moma. And then at wide receiver, we have the really intriguing and talented Roland Crouch, who is a senior this year. And I think he's just one of those guys as a gadget receiver who's really interesting. And another gadget guy is Sam Manapuna, who will also be out there making plays for us. And then Demetrius Brown will make appearances as well. And maybe a little bit of Lorenzo Ruggins on the receiving side. And then for our tight end, Stephen Bakhtiari will have the unenviable task of replacing Zay Garvin, who won the Heisman Trophy last year, but Zay also replaced a Heisman Trophy winner, so we'll see what's in store for Stephen. And then on the offensive line, we're going to have left tackle Ramon De La Rosa. At left guard will be P.J. Clinton. At center, we're going to have James Lorenzo, who moved over from guard to play center. And then at right guard, we're going to have Anthony Perkins. And then at right tackle will be Iosefa Wang. On the defensive side of the ball, we have a very talented front seven, and that starts with Salisi Hwang on the left edge. And then on the right edge is going to be George Simonet. And then in the middle at DT is going to be Henry Carden and Stevie Johns, along with George Machado making appearances. And then in the linebacking spot, I'm very, very excited about this group. We got Junior Nauta on the outside, and then in the middle, we're going to have Assad Barmore. And on the other outside linebacker spot will be George Boozer. And then for our cornerbacks, these guys are juniors, so we're hoping they stick around for next year so we can really put some development into them. But they're at a pretty good spot already. But the trio we had last year was one of the best in college football, not just last year, just college football history in general, just incredibly talented guys. But filling their shoes this year will be Walt Bender, Luis Moe, and Carl Meeks, along with Taekwon Paul making some appearances maybe here and there. And then at free safety, we're going to have Talia Chung. A little bit of a different thing here is we're going to have Landry Romo being our slot cornerback. And then at strong safety, we're going to have Jamison Addison. And in 3-3-5 sets and 3 safety looks, we're going to have J.D. LaRoque out there. For our specialists, we're going to have Frank Webb returning to us for his senior season, expecting a lot from him. And then at punter will be sophomore Warren Woods. Also wanted to mention at our power halfback spot will be Trevante Uzama. Not really sure how much action he's going to get out there, but just wanted to make sure I note him in case he does make impacts here and there. Looking at our recruiting board so far, we got 6 gems that we found, and starting with Randy McNeil, a contact-seeking halfback. He's got pretty decent athleticism for that archetype, so that intrigued me. And then Max Littlejohn is an outside linebacker with a great last name. He's got tremendous athleticism, great hit power, and the silver blow-up and bronze hammer. And then we go to Daryl Blades, a cornerback who's got pretty good athleticism, and he's got good coverage skills, and he's got gold robber. And then for Eli Newcomb, he's got some pretty good base stats, just got to work on that deep accuracy. And then for Kenya Kiki, he's also a contact seeker at halfback. He's got good athleticism along the same lines as our other guy. And then for Max Meeks, he's an athlete, so could really plug him in anywhere, but he's got good athleticism as you'd expect. And then we're going to move to the non-gems. Kevin Jones, a defensive tackle, got abilities already and 88 finesse moves. And then right guard Avery Gabriel, just a great all-around game. And then you got Gabriel Redmond, who's the #1 player in the country, so got a chance at him. I want to try to take it. Entering week 1, everybody has us on their board except for cornerback Daryl Blades, so that's unfortunate, but we're going to have to take him off. But everybody else has us on their board, so we'll see what we can do and what kind of progress we can make. To start the season, we got our guy Roland Crouch at the top of the Heisman Trophy race, so we'll see what we can do with that. And another note is that the Ole Miss quarterback, Zach Quick, is just below Roland, so we'll see how that matchup turns out in the beginning of this season. Stepping onto the field now to face the Ole Miss Rebels to open our season, and Ole Miss has already played a game in week 0 and they won it, so they come into it with a little momentum, and they're ranked number 9 in the country, so should be a good early test for us. And we're going to get sacked here. Demetrius Telfort just faced a whole bunch of pressure on that one, and they're going to take him down. And we're going to get a sack here, and it's going to be Salisi Hwang getting in there for the sack. So both teams have a sack early in this game, both on 3rd down to snuff out drives. Ole Miss is able to get it inside our 5-yard line, but not much further, and they are going to send up a field goal and take the early 3-0 lead.
They're in the red zone and they'll pass it.
And Adrian Grudedaria is going to get around that defender and get into the end zone for the Peteytown Piranhas, our first touchdown of the season, and it's going to make it 7-3 for the Piranhas after what's been a very defensive first half so far.
Now the play fake. Under fire. Lost one deep.
And we're going to get an interception here off of that hit by our defender, and it's going to be Luis Moe hauling that one in. Great pressure by the defensive line as their quarterback gets a little banged up here, but just great pressure by our defensive line to force that one out. Didn't get it where he wanted to, and Luis Moe takes advantage. And Demetrius Telfort trying to find somebody, but Ole Miss is going to get in there for their 2nd sack of the game. Frank Webb comes out here to attempt the long field goal, and Frank is going to put this one up. And it is no good. Wide to the left, I think, and that is a surprising miss from Frank, but was a pretty deep field goal, so can't blame him too much for that one. And we're going to get a sack here. Nice job by the Peteytown Piranhas to push him back. And he's getting chased down, and you are not going to get away from George Simonette in a foot race with his incredible athleticism, and we're going to bring him down for the sack. And that is going to be cut off by Ole Miss. Just a great play there. It looks like he almost kind of ran through Roland Crouch there, but that's just the risk we run with that post RPO play, and Ole Miss is going to take advantage of it. And their quarterback is sprinting towards the end zone, and they are going to give him the touchdown there. We'll see if there's a review, but from my angle, it looks like he might have just poked that one in, and it looks like Ole Miss is going to have a 10-7 lead. Adrian Grudedaria again is going to get a receiving touchdown. He makes a little juke to give him some extra room to work with, or really extra momentum to get into the end zone there. And we are going to take the lead 14-10. And I love that on both times that Ole Miss has scored on drives, we've responded with scoring drives of our own, and that's going to give us this lead. To start the 4th quarter, Ole Miss has driven the ball just outside of our red zone and got stopped there. And we are going to get a blocked field goal here. What a play by the Piranhas, and it's going to stay 14-10. Incredible play here. And Demetrius Telfort, it was a short drop back and nobody got free in time, and that sack is going to come as quick as can be and putting us on 4th down, and we're looking at a Frank Webb field goal attempt. Frank Webb trying a tough hash mark field goal here from 28 yards out. Frank is going to put it up, and it is good, so he gets a little redemption for that earlier miss in the game, and it's going to be a touchdown deficit at 17-10.
Use the play fake. Now to throw. He's got an open man.
And that is going to be a touchdown for Ole Miss. That guy is going to roll into the end zone. I thought he was going to be down, but that roll looks like it's going to give Ole Miss the score to tie up this game at 17-17.
Need to go back to work. Quarterback on the keeper.
And their quarterback is breaking free here, and we're trying to chase him down, and I don't think we're going to do it, and Ole Miss is going to get a touchdown here. What an incredible play by their quarterback. And for the first time in a long time, I'm going to try to come in and help out the Peteytown Piranhas. Just what an absolutely marvelous play here from Ole Miss. And Demetrius Telford is going to get around the edge here. I don't think he has the speed to get away from this guy, but it's a defensive lineman, so Demetrius Telford is going to get all the way down to the 1-yard line. What an incredible play by Demetrius. Read that one nicely, and we're going to get here in a great scoring position. Just looking at the alignment here, going to change it to a quarterback sneak for Demetrius, and Demetrius is going to get this one in, and I think he deserved it after that long run where he could have scored, but the Peteytown Piranhas are going to tie this one up right at the 2-minute warning. On the next drive, it's 3rd down and 8 for the Ole Miss Rebels as the clock winds down a little bit. And he is going to survey, throw a rifle, and it is going to be caught, and he's going to break away from us, and Walt Bender's the one that has to bring him down. Incredible play by Ole Miss. And coming screaming off the edge here, we're going to get a sack, our 4th of the ball game. And Henry Carden getting a TFL, and we're going to use our 2nd timeout. 3rd down and 18 for Ole Miss, just inside the red zone. He's going to survey, he's going to rifle one, and it is going to be knocked out nicely. Assad Barmore on the coverage. Field goal attempt here for Ole Miss now, and he is going to put that one up, and it is going to be good, and they are going to take the field goal lead at 27-24, and it's been a while, so I'll just remind everybody that since it's within 7 points, I can't step in, so it's going to be on the CPU in this final drive.
They'll start this drive going to the air.
Going to start here with Sam Manapuna, and he's going to reach for the 1st down.
To the air on 2nd down.
Adrian Grudadaria going to get this one, and he is pushed forward for another 1st down for the Piranhas. And Roland Crouch going to make this catch with a bunch of guys around him. Demetrius Telford is going to hit our guy Roland Crouch, and Roland is going to get us all the way to the 11-yard line. Adrian Grudadaria going to get a carry, and we're going to take our final timeout. I don't know why we're running it there. Instead of trying something towards the end zone, Petey Previtt's going to send out Frank Webb for a hash mark field goal. And Frank Webb is going to get a slow-mo here, and it is good. So the Peteytown Piranhas are going to tie this game up on a very nice drive. And the final seconds are going to tick off here, and we are going to go to overtime against the Ole Miss Rebels at a 27-27 score. For the coin toss, the Peteytown Piranhas are going to, looks like we're going to be able to defend here, so we're going to elect to do that. And Ole Miss going to defend on the left, so we'll see what happens here. The option is going nowhere as we're going to get into the backfield for a 3-yard loss. 3rd down and 9 for Ole Miss now. And they're at the 12-yard line here, sending a man in motion. And looking, he is going to find somebody, but it is not caught. Good defense there for the Piranhas. Field goal attempt here straight away for their kicker, so shouldn't really be an issue for him. And he is going to put it through, and now the Peteytown Piranhas have to respond to the field goal. Adrian Grudadaria going to get this one, and he is going to push and fight his way to the 1-yard line. First and goal from the 1, Demetrius Telfort taking this one, and Demetrius is in the end zone for the Peteytown Piranhas, and that's going to be the walk-off touchdown we need to get this win. What an absolute roller coaster of a game. Ole Miss giving us all we can handle, but the Peteytown Piranhas are going to survive with a 33-30 victory. If it was 0, we wouldn't be in this situation, of course, but 33-30 is the final score in this one. Just all the action you could want for an opening game. Well, it's been a while since the Peteytown Piranhas have had their backs up against the wall like that, but I like how our guys responded. And as for the numbers, we had 482 yards to Ole Miss's 450, and then for rushing we had 138 and 2 touchdowns, while they had 150 and 2 touchdowns. And then for passing yards, we had 344 to their 300. We were 2 of 8 on third down, while they were 4 for 12. And then for turnovers, both teams had 1. In his first start with us, Demetrius Telfort had a very solid game with 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and he was sacked 3 times. Adrian Grudadaria did a lot of his damage in the air, but he was still effective on the ground with 11 carries and 74 yards. Then Demetrius Telfort had 8 for 57 and 2 touchdowns. Stephen Bakhtiari went for 12 catches and 134 yards, and then Adrian Grudadaria had 7 for 77 and 2 touchdowns, and Roland Crouch had 6 for 72. George Boozer was our leader in tackles with 11 and 2 for a loss, and then Jamison Addison had 10. 4 sacks for the Piranhas here as George Simonet got 2, then Salisi Hwang and Stevie Johns got 1 apiece. Our interception today was by Luis Moe. Tyquan Paul was the guy who was credited with that blocked field goal, which ended up being a huge play for us in this one. Frank Webb bounced back nicely from that missed field goal to hit 2 others, and he had a long of 28. And would you look at that, our championship contender went up to a B+, so that's something good. So 2 guys in their top 5 in the early stages of this season, as Greg Nemoling is there, a right edge speed rusher. He's in first place for us, and he's got his hard sell going. And then just looking at what he brings to the table, he's got that good athleticism and 86 finesse moves. And then moving on to our guy Zach Skrowanek, a right tackle pass protector, and he is in first place over North Carolina. And for him, we also got the hard sell. And for his scouting, you can see he's got good pass blocking stats. So see what we can do with these guys. Time to host the Oklahoma State Cowboys with their 92 overall, number 15 ranking, and they also won their first game of the year. So we're going to be playing them in a game of the week at the Piranha Tank. And Henry Carden is going to get in there for the sack, a nice 7-yard loss on that one. And that is going to be a nice interception by Oklahoma State, and they're going to try to get a nice return out of this, which they will, to our 32-yard line. Demetrius maybe trying to force one there with a couple of guys on that receiver. After the interception, Oklahoma State's going to have to settle for a field goal attempt, and their man is going to send it up. And it is good, and it's going to be 3-0 Oklahoma State. Big blitz here from Oklahoma State, and that's going to pay off as they're going to get the sack. And we are going to get a sack here. It's a forced fumble, and the Peteytown Piranhas are going to pick it up. George Simonet on the recovery. Couldn't really tell who was on the sack there, but a couple of guys were in there bothering their quarterback. And a big play here for the Piranhas to prevent any scoring opportunity for the Cowboys. And it's going to be Junior Nauta getting credit with that forced fumble. And a sack here. It's going to be another forced fumble, and it's going to be recovered by their lineman. He's in the end zone, and that is going to end up being a safety for the Peteytown Piranhas. What a wacky play there, and it's going to result in 2 points. And I couldn't really tell who was on the sack there. It's not going to tell me who it was, I guess, but it's going to be Stevie Johns gets the sack there. So nice job by Stevie. And Demetrius Telfort's going to toss this one out to Sam Manapuna, and we're going to take the lead on this touchdown, and it's going to be 9-3, or maybe we'll go for 2. We'll see what happens. It'll just be the extra point here, as Frank Webb is going to put that through to make it 9-3. And we're going to get another sack here. George Simonet and Stevie Johns in on that one. And we're going to get a sack here, just like a bullet. George Simonet getting in there for another sack.
Quarterback looking to throw it on second down.
And in the face of pressure, Demetrius Telford is going to deliver one to Sam Manapuna, and he's got another touchdown in this game, and it's going to be 16-3 on that nice end of first half drive from the Piranhas.
There's the snap. Quarterback setting up to throw.
And Henry Carden has to fight and claw his way to get to the quarterback, but he did on that sack.
On third down, he drops to throw.
And another one incoming, back-to-back plays with sacks as we're going to bring him down again.
Looking to throw it on first down. Defense is coming after him.
And right into the hands of Oklahoma State. The first play of the second half is going to be an interception. Demetrius Telfort trying to make something happen, but that linebacker was standing right where he needed to be.
And the quarterback dropping back.
And Demetrius Telfort facing a blitz here, and Oklahoma State's going to get it to get home.
That's a design.
Demetrius Telfort going to take this one right up the middle to get the touchdown for the Peteytown Piranhas, as it's going to be 23-3, and a nice recovery from the offense after that earlier sack. Petey Previtt looking to go for two here, actually. See if we can make it 24-3. Demetrius going to drop back, float one out there, and it is going to be caught out there by Stephen Bakhtiari, and it will be 24-3 for the Peteytown Piranhas.
On first down, it's play action. Running out of time.
And this pass rush is getting home again as Salisi Hwang gets back there this time for a 6-yard loss.
Off the play fake, looking to throw the football.
And another sack here, and that's going to be our 9th of the game as George Simonet gets in there once again.
Booted away. And this drive,
And we're going to tackle him in the end zone, and that's going to be a safety. 26-3 Peteytown Piranhas. You don't see that every day. Just got in there like a bullet and took him down. That is just one crazy play. Frank Webb will be called on to attempt this 32-yard field goal, and Frank is going to put it up, and it is good to make it 29-3 for the Piranhas.
looking to throw it again. Fires it on the move.
An interception here, Junior Nada over the middle getting that one. Their quarterback trying to make a play on the run, and Junior Nada said, "Not on my watch."
10. Dropping back, looking to throw for the first down.
And another interception here for the Piranhas, as it's going to be Walt Bender making this one on a nice play by Walt. And Stephen Bakhtiari is going to get the pop pass to work out for us, and Stephen Bakhtiari is in the end zone for the Peteytown Piranhas, as we're going to go up 36-3. The Peteytown Piranhas finish off this 36-3 victory over Oklahoma State. Just nice job by the defense, especially the pass rush, and as the time went on, we got some interceptions as well, so that was good to see. And then our offense is finding different things to work on and finding things that work for us, so just a little work in progress there, but they're still being effective for us, and we're just going to be happy with this win and keep on moving forward. Piranhas got 458 yards in this game, while Oklahoma State had 163. They had negative 39 yards rushing thanks to all the sacks, and we had 119 and a touchdown. And for passing, they had 202 and we had 339. And for third down, they were 2 for 12 and we were 7 for 13. And turnovers, they had 3 and we had 2. Demetrius Telfort really showing us the talent that he has and the room that he has to grow still, as he had 336 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and he was sacked twice. Adrian Grudedaria leading us with 22 carries and 102 yards, and Demetrius Telfort added a touchdown run. Stephen Bakhtiari with 16 catches and 164 yards to go with a touchdown. Then Adrian Grudedaria again very effective in the receiving game with 9 catches and 88 yards. And Sam Manapuna had 5 for 49 and 2 touchdowns. Junior Nada was all over the place making plays as he had 9 tackles and 4 for a loss. 10 sacks in this game for the Piranhas, as George Simonet got 2.5, and then we got 2 each for Salisi Hwang and Henry Carden, then 1.5 for Stevie Johns, and then 1 sack each for Junior Nada and George Machado. 2 picks in this one, with Junior Nada and Walt Bender getting those near the end of the game. Couple of forced fumbles for the Piranhas, as Junior Nada got one and Salisi Hwang got the other. And then we got a recovery by George Simonet, and the other one led to a safety, so a very nice job in the production for forced fumbles. Speaking of safeties, we ended up with 2 in this game as Junior Nauta and Eric Lopez forced those. Frank Webb hitting his only field goal of the day with a 32-yarder. Junior Nauta was recognized as the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. More guys in their top 5 now, starting with Greg DeMulling. He was already there, so his hard sell helped outpace Michigan still, and he's got a Week 4 visit coming up. And then for Eli Newcomb, Nick Potts, and Floyd Grimes, kind of helping each other out here. Eli really getting the big boost with a tackle and wide receiver. But then we got Floyd Grimes in an interesting situation where he's got the sway that we're trying to do because Gamer has that D grade, so trying to get him off of that. And then for other guys, we got Alfonso Wells just in first place. Zach Skowronek was already there, and he got a big boost. And then Kenya Kiki got a little advantage over Pitt right now, and Max Meek's a little advantage over Michigan. So got a lot to do with these guys, but everybody outside of Floyd has their hard sell going. After a quiet day, Roland Crouch has dropped out of the Heisman Trophy race, and Zach Quick is the first guy. Even though we beat him, he's still putting up some numbers and rushing totals. And we have our guy Demetrius Telfort in the Heisman Trophy race now. Despite those 2 interceptions, he's getting some rushing touchdowns, so I think that's helping him a little bit. So we'll keep monitoring this as we go. This game of the week will feature number 1 and number 2 in our rivalry game with Miami with their 99 team overall, so got to really buckle down and get this win here. And we're going to get a tip into an interception here. Jamison Addison is the recipient on that one. 3 guys around the area, and Jamison Addison is the one who comes away with it. And just great defensive play there by the Peteytown Piranhas on the first drive of the game. Pop pass is going to work to perfection here as Stephen Bakhtiari gets free and splits those safeties to get into the end zone. And we're going to go up 7-0, courtesy of that interception from Jamison Addison and a nice drive by the offense. And we're going to get a sack here. It's the double fake that they like to run, and Salisi Hwang is going to get in there for the sack. And it's going to be a nice touchdown toss to Dominic DeLuca, who gets into the end zone for us and makes it 14-0. Dylan DeLuca, excuse me. I thought it was Dominic, but it's Dylan DeLuca. Sorry about that, Dylan. Intercepted here, just perfect coverage there by our man. I can't tell who it is with that shiny number he has. And it's going to be George Boozer getting that one, our linebacker, so great job by George. And another touchdown toss here as Stephen Bakhtiari is in the end zone again for the Piranhas. And we're going to go up 21-0 thanks to the George Boozer interception. And a beautiful interception by Miami there. That guy's able to cut it off as Demetrius Telfort try to go deep, and that's going to put them on their own 7-yard line. So got some work to do on offense for them, but beautiful interception. Shotgun formation here on 3rd down. And Roland Crouch is going to make a move to the outside, and Roland Crouch is going to get into the end zone, showing his dynamic ability there. Got a nice block downfield to help spring him free, and the Peteytown Piranhas are going to go up 28-0. And Miami is going to get on the board here with a nice toss over the middle of the field, and it's going to be 28-7. And we're going to get a sack here, or well, Miami's going to get a sack here. We're the ones getting sacked. It's going to be for a 5-yard loss. Miami looking for a field goal here, as it's going to be from 51 yards out. And their kickers puts it up, and it is good. And it'll be a 28-10 game. Demetrius Telfort is going to get taken down here as their man came screaming in from, I think, his safety spot, and that's going to be an 8-yard loss. Another field goal attempt here for Miami, and they are going to get this one as well to make it a 2-score game at 28-13. An interception here as Miami's guy just baited us into that one, trying to hit roll and crouch on the post, but the Miami linebacker made a brilliant play where he came up like he was going to play the run, but then stepped back where he needed to play the pass. After the interception, Miami's settling for yet another field goal here from 50 yards out, and their kicker is going to boom this one away, and it is good, and it'll make it 28-16. And it's going to be our man Roland Crouch on the slant. Demetrius Telfort waited for it to get more open, and then he fired the strike to Roland to make it 35-16. Adrian Grudadaria is getting around the edge and sprinting towards the end zone as Adrian Grudadaria will make it 42-16 for the Peteytown Piranhas. Henry Carden getting in for the sack. He just got by that man quickly and closed in on that quarterback. So the Peteytown Piranhas start really well and end really well against the Miami Hurricanes. And Miami kind of had some things going in the middle of the game there, but we were able to close out this one, especially after that very hot start that we had. And we're going to keep on keeping on, and very exciting for next game as we're trying to hit the 100 wins in a row milestone. The Piranhas got 456 yards in this game while Miami had 280, and they had 22 yards rushing while we had 110 and a touchdown. Then through the air they had 258 and we had 346. And both teams did not do particularly well on third down as they were 2 for 11 and we were 4 for 11. And then for turnovers, we both had 2. Demetrius Telfort with quite the day as he had 346 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and he was sacked 4 times. Adrian Grudadaria just over the 100-yard mark as he had 18 carries for 105 and a touchdown. Had a handful of guys contribute on the receiving end in this one as Stephen Bakhtiari had 13 catches, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Roland Crouch had 5 for 77 and 2 touchdowns. Adrian Grudadaria 5 for 62. Lorenzo Ruggins 2 for 61. And then Dylan DeLuca 3 for 19 and a touchdown. George Boozer led us with 14 tackles. Only a couple of sacks here for the Piranhas as Salisi Hwang and Henry Carden got 1 apiece. And George Boozer and Jamison Addison got our interceptions. So our guys coming on visits this week include Greg DeMolling, Eli Newcomb, Nick Potts, and Floyd Grimes. And for Floyd, he's just in front of Michigan here, but we did get that sway to be successful, so he's got the aspirational goals hard sell. And then for Greg up here, he's in his top 3, so successful visit should get him to commit. And we also got another guy in his top 3 down here with Zach Skwarwanek, so hopefully he just commits to us and we don't have to worry about that anymore. And then the other guys are in pretty good positions at the moment. The UCLA Bruins are coming to town now with their number 7 ranking and 91 team overall, and like us, they've won their first 3 games, and it's another game of the week, so should be an exciting matchup here. And just absolutely immediate sack here by George Simonette. Nobody really got a hand on him there, and he's going to push him back and get us the ball. Adrian Grudadaria is going to pick the right hole to go through here to get into the end zone for the Peteytown Piranhas, and we're going to go up 7-0. And he is not going to escape our pressure as our guys George Simonette and I believe Stevie Johns were in on that sack. UCLA lining up for a 50-yard field goal here, and their kicker is going to send it on its way. And it is good, and it's going to be a 7-3 ball game. Frank Webb is going to come out here for a 61-yard field goal attempt, and he is going to put this one up. It's got the distance and it has the accuracy as well. Mighty fine kick by Frank Webb, and it's going to be 10-3 for the Piranhas. And we're going to get a sack and a forced fumble, and it's going to be picked up, and it is going to be a free touchdown here for Stevie Johns. Stevie just on that ball, and I couldn't tell who was the sack guy. I believe it was George Boozer, and whoever it was, it's going to be 17-3 for the Peteytown Piranhas. And quarterback is not going to get away again as we get another sack in this one. Henry Carden records it this time.
He's back to throw again. again on second attempt.
And Demetrius Telford is going to be down here, and that's UCLA's first sack of the game. So we've had pretty good success with our pass rush in the first half, and now UCLA is starting to get their one going. A bit closer on the field goal attempt here for Frank Webb, as it's going to be a 56-yarder, and Frank is going to put it up, and it is good. So nice job by Frank Webb, just keeping us afloat here, and it's going to be 20-3 for the Piranhas. And Demetrius Telford is going to throw an interception here. I don't know really what he was trying to do there, but not the best decision in the world. As we were coming to the close in this first half, just throwing it up there, trying to make a play, but just not one we needed him to make.
Looking to pick up the first down through the air.
And as Demetrius Telford gets hit, he tries to throw it out there, and it's going to land in UCLA's hands for their second interception in this game, and they're going to take over at the 13-yard line. And George Simonet is going to hit him, and Junior Nauta is in there as well for the sack.
Quarterback drops back, probing the secondary. Fires it to the wideout.
And Roland Crouch with a nice move here, and Roland Crouch is running away from the defense. Roland Crouch, what a huge play here for the Peteytown Piranhas, and it's going to be 27-3. And we're going to get another sack. It's Salisi Hwang on our 6th sack of the game. Demetrius Telford is going to get taken down by 3 UCLA Bruins. Frank Webb on for a hash mark field goal, a 27-yarder. And Frank Webb is going to put this one up, and it is good to make it 30-3. And we're going to get an interception here. Nice job on the cutoff, and we are going to get a return, and it is going to be a touchdown for the Peteytown Piranhas. What a play. That was J.D. LaRoque out there, and it's going to be 37-3 for the Piranhas. Our second defensive touchdown of the game, too. Big blowout victory here for the Peteytown Piranhas as we win 44-3. And great effort on defense, especially that pass rush. They're also able to pick off their guy a couple of times. They got to Demetrius Telford a couple of times as well, but great job by the team picking them up and getting this victory. A very special note for this game, as this was the Peteytown Piranhas' 100th straight victory. Just absolutely incredible consistency from the Piranhas over the last few classes, and I'm just so proud of all the guys who have contributed to it, and these guys being the ones that helped reach the mark here, and I'm just absolutely over the moon for that. The Piranhas had 445 yards to UCLA's 159, and they had 56 yards on the ground while we had 144 and a touchdown. And then for the passing games, they had 103 and we had 301. And for third down, they were 4 for 14 and we were 6 for 11. And then for turnovers, they had 3 and we had 2. Demetrius Telford with a bit of a struggle in this one, but he still ended up with 276 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions, and he was sacked twice. And then our guy John Hardy had 25 and a touchdown. Adrian Grudedaria very solid today with 13 carries, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Roland Crouch only needed 2 catches to lead us with 87 yards and that 81-yard touchdown. And Stephen Bakhtiari had 10 for 84, Adrian Grudedaria 6 for 52, and then Andre Iguabuke had a 9-yard touchdown with the backups. George Boozer led us today with 9 tackles, and he had 3 for a loss. George Simonet led us with 2.5 sacks, while George Boozer, Henry Carden, and Salisi Hwang all had 1, then half a sack each for Junior Nauta and Stevie Johns. 2 picks for the Piranhas today as J.D. LaRoque and Joel Okorafor got those, and J.D. returned his 27 yards for a pick 6. George Boozer had that forced fumble that was picked up by Stevie Johns for the 31-yard touchdown. Frank Webb hitting all 3 of his field goals today with a long of 61. Recruits coming in now as we got right edge Greg DeMulling to commit, and quarterback Eli Newcomb will also become a Peteytown Piranha. Here to protect Eli in the future is left tackle Nick Potts, and to catch some of those passes will be wide receiver Floyd Grimes. Another guy on the line as Zach Skwerwanek is going to commit. Demetrius Telfort dropped down a spot in the Heisman Trophy race, and I was surprised I didn't drop out altogether, but glad to see his name still there. We're going to go up against another undefeated team today as we take on the Iowa Hawkeyes at their place with their 82 overall and 4-0 record, and they're also just in the top 25 at number 24.
He'll do it himself.
And there's a fumble out here, and it's still on the ground, and it's going to be picked up by the Piranhas. Jamison Addison gets it, and Jamison Addison is loose as he's going to go down the sideline and into the end zone for the Peteytown Piranhas. What a play there, and he was able to scoop that one up. He got a block there to spring him free, and what a play for the Peteytown Piranhas defense. Iowa was really driving there, and we were able to snuff that out. And Henry Cardin is going to get in there for the sack and force a fumble, but it bounces right into their lineman's hands. Adrian Grudadaria with a nice cut, a nice spin move, and Adrian Grudadaria is in the end zone for the Piranhas as we're going to take the 2-score lead. And we're going to get an interception here. George Boozer steps in front of that one. Great zone coverage by George, and we have it on their side of the 50. Demetrius Telfort going to get this one and has to avoid a lineman blocking another guy, but he's in the end zone as we're going to go up 21-0. And Iowa is going to get on the board here. Nice slant route from their receiver, and that's going to make it 21-7. And Demetrius Telfort is going to get taken down here. Just nobody getting free on that play. And it's going to be a strike into the end zone. Sam Manupuna on that catch. And the Peteytown Piranhas are going to go up 28-7. Demetrius Telfort in the back of the end zone is going to find Roland Crouch, who gets those feet in, and it's going to be 35-7 for the Piranhas. And George Simonet chases him down along with Stevie Johns. And it's going to be floated by Demetrius into the hands of Stephen Bakhtiari, who makes that catch in front of a defender, and we're going to go up 42-7. George Simonet is going to get back there for the sack and force fumble, but Iowa's going to recover it. Iowa coming out for a field goal attempt now, and their kicker is going to put this one up. And it is going to be good, and it's going to be 42-10. And Demetrius Telfort getting brought down for a 4-yard loss on that sack. And it's going to be floated out, and Stephen Bakhtiari found the hole in the defense, and that's going to be another touchdown for the Peteytown Piranhas, 49-10. The backups are able to add another touchdown here as we're going to finish with a 56-10 victory over Iowa. The offense was just clicking on all cylinders in this one. Defense doing their thing as well, and just very nice job by the Piranhas in this road environment. 550 yards today for the Piranhas on offense, while Iowa had 358, and 174 of our yards were on the ground with 3 touchdowns, while they had 68. And through the air, we had 376 to their 290. We were 10 of 11 on third down, while they were 7 for 13. And for turnovers, we kept it clean and forced 2 on them. Demetrius Telfort with easily his best game of the season so far, as he had 358 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was sacked twice. Stanley Vaughn ended up coming in with the backups and leading us in rushing with 3 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown that he took 85 yards to the house. And then Adrian Grudadaria had 7 for 74 and a touchdown. And Demetrius Telfort added a touchdown run, bringing his total to 5 touchdowns on the day. Stephen Bakhtiari with a big game here as he had 19 catches, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Roland Crouch had 5 for 85 and a touchdown. And Sam Menapuna 4 for 52 and a touchdown. Jamison Addison led us with 9 tackles. Just a few sacks today as George Simonette got 1.5, Henry Carden got 1, and Stevie Johns had half a sack. Our interception today was by George Boozer. 3 forced fumbles today as George Simonette, Henry Carden, and Talia Chung got those. And then we got 1 recovery from Jamison Addison, and it was a big one as he returned it 85 yards for a touchdown. Halfback Max Meeks has decided to join the Peteytown Piranhas. Another halfback here with Kenya Kiki. On the defensive side of things, right edge Alfonso Wells is going to be on our defense in the future. Stephen Bakhtiari winning himself a Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Alfonso Wells did not end up needing that Week 6 visit to commit to us, but he will be there, as well as Max Littlejohn and Kevin Jones, who are all going to be boosting each other, so that's nice. And Max and Kevin have a little lead over these other schools, so just looking to see if we can get them to commit. If not this week, then by next week. So that's really the main story in recruiting right now. A new name has joined the Heisman Trophy race as Stephen Bakhtiari is on there as he's hopped over Demetrius Telfort. Time to welcome the Northwestern Wildcats with their 1-4 record and 71 overall, so I expect the Piranhas to handle their business here. And we're going to get a sack here. George Simonette is going to get in there. And off that double fake, George Simonette is in there again. Nobody even touched him, and that's not a good idea.
On 3rd and long, you'll need to push it downfield.
And off the tip, it's going to be intercepted. Jamison Addison is going to get this one. He makes a nice cutback on the return, still going, and he's going to get to the 35-yard line. What a great play out there on defense. Demetrius Telfort is going to get it out there to Dylan DeLuca, and Dylan is in the end zone as Stephen Bakhtiari got a little banged up earlier in the drive, and it's going to be 7-0 for the Piranhas. And it's going to be Rolling Crouch off this RPO, and Rolling Crouch is in the end zone for the Piranhas, and he's going to make it a 14-0 lead.
Off to a sluggish start and need to put something together on this drive.
And we're going to get in there with the pressure, good coverage downfield, and Stevie Johns is going to get that sack.
To throw, it's Hawkins.
Another sack incoming on back-to-back plays as it's going to be our guy Salisi Hwang getting in there.
Let him be checked out.
And Demetrius Telfort's got nowhere to go as he's going to go down for that sack. The sack does not make it an impossible field goal attempt here for Frank Webb as he's going to give it a go. And Frank Webb is going to put that one through, and it's going to be 17-0 Piranhas. And a sack incoming again as Stevie Johns is in there again, and it's going to be a 6-yard loss, I think. Actually, they lost a couple of yards on the previous play, so still a good sack from Stevie Johns. And Stephen Bakhtiari is going to get this one, and Stephen Bakhtiari is in the end zone for the Peteytown Piranhas as we extend the lead to 24-0.
Keep this drive moving. Bring in the heat.
And that's going to be picked off, and it's going to be George Boozer going down the numbers, the hash marks, and he's going to get taken down at the 3-yard line. They're trying to hit a guy about 10 yards deeper than where George was, but the way that pass was thrown gave George a chance, and he took advantage of it.
Wants to go up top.
And Rolling Crouch is going to get free enough to get that catch, and we are going to make it a 31-0 game on the second touchdown grab of the day for Roland. And the sack is incoming as 3 guys get in there and they force a fumble, but it's recovered by Northwestern.
On 3rd and long, a check down.
Another sack, and it's 3 guys again, and that's going to be a safety as our guys, it was George Machado, I think Salisi Hwang was in on that, just a whole bunch of guys in on that sack. Northwestern is going to keep us out of the end zone this time, and that's going to let Frank Webb come out, and he's going to put this one up, and good, and it's going to be 35-0. 36-0, I can't do math for some reason.
Dropping back, it's Hawkins.
And we're going to get around. Salisi Hwang forces the fumble, but we cannot recover it. Just looked like Salisi was on a kind of stunt there, or couldn't tell if it was a stunt or he just made that move. But either way, Salisi's going to get in there for the sack. And we're going to get a strike to Sam Manupuna. He just sat down in a spot there, and Demetrius Telfort was able to find him as we go up 43-0. Sack here. Stevie John's in there again, his 4th of the day.
Looking downfield very late in the half. He'll take a shot.
And what a catch there by Sam Manupuna, and what a throw by Demetrius Telfort as Sam gets his 2nd touchdown of the day. And right before the end of the first half, we're going to go up 50-0. So the backups did not let up in this game as we finish at 87-0 over Northwestern. Just everything the Piranhas did in this game worked out, and we just keep on moving on. One of our most dominant all-around efforts in program history today is we had 648 yards while Northwestern had -7, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And of that, they had -70 rushing yards while we had 229 and a touchdown. And they had 63 passing yards and we had 419. They did not convert on 3rd down as they were 0 of 13 and we were 7 for 9. And then for turnovers, we didn't commit any and Northwestern had 2. Demetrius Telfort had 231 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was sacked once. And then John Hardy put in his work with 188 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and a sack. Stanley Vaughn came in with the backups and went absolutely crazy in the second half as he had 12 carries for 149 yards, and Adrian Grudedaria had 9 for 66, and John Hardy had 5 for 22 and a touchdown. In receiving, Roland Crouch led us with 6 catches, 84 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Demetrius Brown had 3 for 72 and 1 touchdown. Carter Burns had 8 for 64 and 2 touchdowns. Adrian Grudedaria 5 for 43. Sam Manupuna 3 for 37 and 2 touchdowns. Stephen Bakhtiari 4 for 37 and a touchdown. Andre Igwabuke 3 for 31 and a touchdown. And finally, Dylan DeLuca 2 for 17 and a touchdown. George Machado was all over the place today as he had 8 tackles and 7 for a loss. Stevie Johns ended up with 4 sacks and a great effort from him, while George Machado had 3.5 and George Simonet had 3, then 1.5 for Salisi Hwang, 1 for Nate Reinhardt, then half a sack each for Damian Suttle and Taj Hagens, and altogether we got 13 sacks in this game. 2 interceptions for the Piranhas as George Boozer got another one and Jamison Addison got the other. We also ended up getting 2 safeties in this game from Damian Suttle and George Machado. Frank Webb hit both of his field goals today with a long of 58. Recruits are coming in as we got 5-star defensive tackle Kevin Jones. The Week 6 visit really helped Max Littlejohn as he's got a nice lead over Nebraska now in his top 3. Then Avery Gabriel is going to be on a Week 7 visit with us, so that should help us commit as he's in his top 3. And then Rico Crozier, another guy in his top 3, he's coming on a Week 7 visit as well, as Miami's trying to make a competition out of it. And then Gabriel Redmond also coming here this week. He's in a much tighter battle with other teams, so really need this visit to go well for him. And then another guy in his top 3 is Randy McNeil, and we're hoping he commits before he goes on that Week 8 visit to Virginia Tech. And then our kicker, Joaquin Orlando, is in a nice lead and nobody else is going after him. And then finally, for guys in their top 5, is Tobias Hayden, that athlete contested specialist we got, and nobody else is going after him. So feeling pretty good right now in our recruiting. Another little shuffle in the Heisman Trophy race as A.J. Brahms is now in first place over Zach Quick, and Demetrius Telfort moved up to 3rd place with a nice performance, and Stephen Bakhtiari fell a little bit as he had a little bit of a subpar performance for his standards, but still got a receiving touchdown and he's still in the race, so we'll see how things go moving forward with this. It's rivalry time against the Maryland Terrapins with their 3-3 record and 77 overall.
On 3rd and long, he has to throw for it.
And he is not going to run away from George Simonet here as we look like we're going to knock him out of field goal range.
Receiver. They're going to
And they're going to return the favor on a sack here as Maryland's going to get one around midfield. And another sack in this game as it's going to be our guy Stevie Johns getting back there. And that man Stevie Johns is back there again on a sack for an 8-yard loss. 57-yard field goal attempt here for our guy Frank Webb. And Frank puts it up, but it is wide to the right, and we're going to come away with nothing. And Demetrius Telford is going to get taken down from behind. Nice play by their defender. Frank Webb coming out to attempt this short field goal, and it is going to be good, and it's taken till just over 2 minutes left in this first half for a team to get on the board, and thankfully it's us as we're going to have a 3-0 lead. And the double fake is not going to work as Salisi Hwang is going to force the fumble, and Salisi is going to pick it up in the end zone for the Peteytown Piranhas. On a day where our offense is trying to find themselves, the defense provides a touchdown here to make it 10-0. After our defensive touchdown, Maryland's able to drive it down the field to set up a field goal attempt for their kicker, and he's going to put it up, and it is going to be good, so it's going to be 10-3. And the pop pass is absolutely wide open for Stephen Bakhtiari. Nobody even by him on that play. And the Peteytown Piranhas will go up 17-3. And Adrian Grudedaria is going to get around that defender and get into the end zone, showing a little wheels there on the little scat back play. And it's going to be a 24-3 game. And we're going to get into the end zone here off a nice RPO slant play. Beautiful read by Demetrius Telfort to make it 31-3 for the Peteytown Piranhas early in this fourth quarter. See who scored that. It was Lorenzo Ruggins, so the freshman getting involved there. And sack here is going to be coming from our guy George Boozer on a nice blitz. An interception here from Jamison Addison. It looked like a very errant pass there by the Maryland quarterback, and Jamison Addison's going to take advantage. Frank Webb on to kick this field goal, a 56-yarder, and Frank Webb is putting it up and putting it in, and it's going to be 34-3 for the Piranhas. So, slow start for the Piranhas in this one, but we ride an absolutely dominant second half to a 41-3 victory to win the latest edition of the Peteytown Maryland War, and we're going to feel pretty good about ourselves and definitely had some recruits watching this that are definitely going to be impressed. 429 yards for the Piranhas against Maryland, while they had 215, and they had 24 yards on the ground while we had 154. Then through the air, they had 191 and we had 275. They were 5 of 12 on third down while we were 4 for 8. And for turnovers, we didn't have any, and Maryland had 3. Demetrius Telfort with 233 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and he was sacked twice. And John Hardy had 42 yards and a touchdown. Adrian Grudedaria led us with 12 carries for 81 yards. Stephen Bakhtiari had 7 catches for 94 yards and 1 touchdown, while Roland Crouch had 4 for 50. Adrian Grudedaria had 4 for 42 and a touchdown, and Lorenzo Ruggins had 2 for 38 and a touchdown. And I said that he was a freshman, but he's a sophomore, so sorry about that. Junior Nada was making big plays out there with 11 tackles and 4 for a loss. Stevie Johns had 2 sacks, while George Simonet had 1.5, then 1 each for George Boozer and Salisi Hwang, and then half a sack each for Junior Nada, Damian Suttle, and George Machado. 2 more interceptions for the Piranhas today, as we got one from Jamison Addison and the other one from Carl Meeks. Salisi Hwang was the one credited with a forced fumble, and he recovered it in the end zone for the touchdown. Frank Webb went 2 for 3 today with a long of 55. 5-star right guard Avery Gabriel will be joining our offensive line. Another edge with Rico Crozier will also be joining the Piranhas. Simming through the bye week, we got Will linebacker Max Littlejohn, a 5-star. We also got another halfback with Randy McNeil. Gabriel Redmond should be committing to us, but Clemson and Tennessee with those Tier 5 and Tier 4 pipelines kind of scare me that maybe they'll force a recruiting battle. And then for the kicker, Joaquin Orlando, he is well in first and should be committing to us. And then Tobias Hayden, that contested specialist, should also be committing soon. And then we move on to some guys that I added later on in the board, as Miles Meadows, a cornerback, is well in first place. And we use the double soft sell to get his hard sell. And looking at what he brings to the table, pretty good speed, and he's got good man and zone coverage, so definitely an all-around kind of guy. And then moving down, we got Heath Byard, who's well in first here. And we also did the double soft sell to get a hard sell on him. And looking at him, he's got 93 speed and 92 acceleration and good man and zone coverage. And he's also got the bronze quick jump. And for next guy, we got Larry Ezeki, who's kind of come from behind to get in second place behind Texas A&M. Got his hard sell and his ratings here. He's got gold grip breaker already, 90 strength, and pretty good athleticism. Nothing to really write home about, but he can hold his own. He's got 81 power moves. And then finally we got Ty Crane, who's a well-rounded guy, definitely leaning a little more pass blocking at this point in his career, and he's in second place behind USC, and we also used the double soft sell to get a hard sell on him, but they do have that Tier 4 pipeline, so it's a good thing we got our right guard already, so because Ty Crane might not be coming here. After the bye week, both of our guys who are in the Heisman Trophy race have dropped out of it, so we'll see if we can get them back in or what the case is. Big game here as we travel to Ohio Stadium to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes with their 97 overall, number 6 ranking, and 7-1 record in a game of the week. And Demetrius Telfort gets stuck back there, and it's going to be a sack for Ohio State, so had a really nice drive going, but Ohio State's able to stop us from getting into the end zone. Frank Webb out to attempt the field goal after that sack by the Buckeyes, and Frank Webb is going to find the angle. No, he is not. He's going to miss it wide to the left. And we're going to get an interception here. We got the defender in, and he's not going to get a pick six, but George Boozer comes out into the flat and makes a flying interception. Henry Carden provided some pressure on the quarterback, making him throw a little bit errant of a pass there, and George Boozer took advantage. Interception by George Boozer is going to help set up another field goal attempt for Frank Webb on the hash mark, the opposite hash mark this time. And Frank is going to miss another one as it's going to be wide to the right, and we come away with nothing. And we're going to get a sack. It's a forced fumble, and it's going to be picked up by Assad Barmore, and Assad Barmore is going to get this scoop and score for the Peteytown Piranhas, and I believe it was Henry Carden on the sack. So on a day where so far we've had 2 drives get deep into their red zone and coming away with nothing, the defense is going to provide the points here as we go up 7-0. Push from the defensive line, and it's going to result in a safety here as George Simonet is going to chase him down, and the defense still providing us with the points as it's going to be 9-0. Demetrius Telfort taking this one right up the middle, and the Peteytown Piranhas now have some points on offense, and that's going to make it 16-0. And Henry Carden with another forced fumble on a sack, and it's going to be picked up by our guy Stevie Johns, and that's another scoop and score today for the Piranhas. Twice we've done that already, and it's going to be 23-0 for the Piranhas. Henry Carden chasing him down again, and Henry Carden has been absolutely dominant in the early going here. And he just floats this one up into absolutely terrible play by him as he just floats it up with a whole bunch of Piranhas there, and it's going to be intercepted by Talia Chung. Adrian Grudadaria is going to get this one up the middle, and Adrian Grudadaria is into the end zone. Great blocking by the O-line there. Adrian has been running really well in this game, and it's going to be 30-0 for the Piranhas. And we're going to get a sack. George Simonetta is going to get another one in this game. And I can confirm that I checked on their depth chart for Ohio State, and they are working with a backup quarterback right now as their starter is injured. So take that with what you will. Off the blitz, we're going to get another sack in this game, as that's going to be Landry Romo getting in there. Getting this one inside Ohio State's 10-yard line. Frank Webb has another opportunity, and Frank Webb is going to put this one through. So after a couple of misses, Frank Webb gets back on the right track, and it's going to be 33-0. Demetrius Telford is going to get the push by the offensive line to get him into the end zone, and the Peteytown Piranhas will take a 40-0 lead over Ohio State. And Ohio State is going to get a big run here, and they are going to get on the board and make it 40-7 at the end of the third quarter, but we're still in a position where we can bring our backups in. The Piranhas are able to take advantage of the fact that Ohio State had their backup quarterback out there as we get this 43-14 victory over them, and just great job by the defense and getting a couple of scores by themselves, and the offense doing their thing, maybe fix a few things in the red zone, but we will take this very nice win. We were able to get 379 yards to Ohio State's 199, and we had 171 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground, while they had 61 and a touchdown. Then for passing, we had 208 to their 138. We were 6 of 13 on third down, while they were 1 for 9. And for turnovers, we had 0, and we forced 4. Not an explosive day for Demetrius Telford, but he had an effective one with 206 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, and he was sacked once. Adrian Grudedaria with a very nice day as he had 24 carries, 128 yards, and a touchdown, and Demetrius Telford got 2 rushing touchdowns. Roland Crouch led us with 6 catches and 68 yards, while Adrian Grudedaria had 4 for 56. Handful of guys with 5 tackles today is Ron Griffin, Henry Carden, George Boozer, and J.D. LaRoque got those. We also had 4 TFLs for Henry Carden. Dominant day for Henry Carden as he led us with 3 sacks, and then we got 2 for George Simonette and 1 for Landry Romo. George Boozer got that early interception, while Talia Chung just waited in center field and got his. Both of our forced fumbles today were forced by Henry Carden, and they were both picked up, and Stevie Johns and Assad Barmore picked them up, and they were both returned for fumble 6s. Uncharacteristic day for Frank Webb as he missed 2 field goals, but he also made 2, and one of them was for 49 yards. On the recruiting trail, we got 5-star linebacker Gabriel Redman. We also got our kicker of the future with Joaquin Orlando. 5-star wide receiver Tobias Hayden will be joining our team. Things not looking too good for Ty Crane as USC has that lead with their Tier 4 pipeline, but we do have a Week 11 visit for them. If we can get past this week, which is Week 10, then maybe we have a chance at tie, but other than that, it might be a losing battle. But in better news, we got a good lead for Miles Meadows in his top 3, and Heath Byard almost in his top 3 here, and then Larry Ezeki just ahead of Texas A&M. Taking a detour out of conference now as we visit the Swamp at Florida, and they have a 91 overall and 4-4 team record. And Florida's going to get into the end zone here. Very impressive opening drive for them, and it's going to be 7-0 Florida. And we're going to get a sack here. It's Demetrius Telford getting way back behind the line as Florida's pressure was pretty instant there. And we're going to get a sack here as it's going to be 3 Piranhas in on that one to knock them back. Demetrius Telford, some pancake blocks out there by the line, and Demetrius Telford is going to have us in the end zone to tie up this game. And Salisi Hwang is going to get back there for a sack. And we are going to get in here a touchdown grab for Demetrius Brown, and the Peteytown Piranhas are going to go up 14-7 on the Florida Gators with just under a minute left in the first half. He's getting chased around, and it is not going to work out for him as we're going to get Henry Carden and Stevie Johns on that sack. And another sack here as George Machado brings him down as the final seconds tick off in this first half. And a sack is incoming here for the Piranhas as we get back there, and that's a man who's a little bit farther down on the depth chart as we've had a little bit of wear and tear going on in this game for our defensive ends. And we'll see who it is here. It's Eric Lopez, a linebacker, who's been filling in on that spot there. So nice job by Eric. And we're going to get a man open here, and it is going to be Lorenzo Ruggins getting into the end zone as Florida was offside to start that play, and that's going to result in a nice 21-7 score for the Peteytown Piranhas. And Stanley Vaughn gets a nice pancake block out there, and he is in the end zone for the touchdown as Adrian Grudadaria is dealing with a little wear and tear. Bunch of guys in this game dealing with that, but Stanley Vaughn comes in and he has a nice strike there on the touchdown carry. And he tried a deep ball and bounced off his receiver's hands and into the hands of Walt Bender, who makes a nice cutback on the return and gets it back to their 35-yard line. Just good coverage by Walt, making it a difficult attempt for that receiver, and he was rewarded with that very fortuitous bounce as we're going to take over. Adrian Grudadaria is going to get around the edge. A nice block out there by the fullback, Daniel Moma. And we are in again with Adrian Grudadaria coming back after some wear and tear stuff. And it's 35-7 for the Peteytown Piranhas. And we're going to get a sack here. Eric Lopez charging in there for our 6th sack of the game and his 2nd. Try to launch deep, and it is not going to work out as Luis Mo runs under it, and he's going to get a return near midfield, and we've turned him over again. And interception here for Florida, so we try to hit a little post on the RPO, but instead of floating it over the linebacker, we threw it right to him. And a sack here for Florida as they push us back 7 yards. Frank Webb out to kick a field goal here from about 33 yards out. And Frank is going to put it up and put it through to make it 38-7. And to end the game here, it's going to be an interception by Luis Mo, and he returns it past the 50, and that's how this one will end, as the Peteytown Piranhas win 38-7 over Florida. Just that second half was absolutely massive for us as we outscored them 24-0. And I'm just really happy how the Piranhas finished this game, and the Florida Gators made it competitive early, but we were able to pull away. On this day, the Peteytown Piranhas had 405 yards to Florida's 225, and we had 156 yards rushing and 3 scores, while they had 81 and a score. And then for passing, we had 249 to their 144. We were 3 of 8 on third down, while they were 2 for 10. And for turnovers, we had 1, and we forced 3 on Florida. Outside of that late interception, Demetrius Telford had a pretty solid day with 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, the pick, and 2 sacks. Had a bit of a two-headed attack today in the running game as Stanley Vaughn had 11 carries, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Adrian Grudadaria had 12 for 72 and a touchdown, and Demetrius Telford added a touchdown carry. Stephen Bakhtiari had 8 catches for 73 yards, while Lorenzo Ruggins had his 1 catch go for 38 yards on a touchdown, and Demetrius Brown got himself a touchdown as well. Junior Nada all over the field today with 11 tackles and 6 for a loss, while George Boozer had 10 with 2 for a loss. Eric Lopez came in and had a really nice day with the sacks as he had 2.5, and then Salisi Hwang got 1.5. Stevie Johns and George Machado had 1 each, then half a sack for Henry Carden. 2 picks in this game for Luis Mo and 1 for Walt Bender. Frank Webb's only kick of the day went through, and it was a 33-yarder. Cornerback Miles Meadows has decided to join the Peteytown Piranhas. Ty Crane did not commit to USC, so we still have a chance at him with him coming in for a visit this week. And Larry Ezeki will be joining him, and we really need him to commit this week because Texas A&M and Tennessee will have him on visits the next couple of weeks. And then for Heath Byard, we should be able to lock him up. The recruits will be watching us take on the Wisconsin Badgers with their 4-5 record and 79 team overall. And we're going to get an interception here in the end zone. Our man steps right in front of that one. I believe it was J.D. LaRoque making that play. And I thought it was in the end zone, but he actually caught it at the 1-yard line. So we're going to be taking over from there. And Wisconsin blocks the field goal, and it's going to be a safety for Wisconsin as they take a 2-0 lead despite our interception. Off the RPO, he dives into the end zone, and George Boozer hits him, but Wisconsin is going to get the touchdown out of it, and we're going to go down 9-0. And Roland Crouch is going to fight into the end zone. A few Wisconsin defenders try to keep him out, but Roland would not be denied, and we're going to close the gap to make it 9-7. And that is going to be a tip drill interception for Wisconsin. He's trying to return this one, but he will not get all the way as Sam Manapuna brings him down. But that return will put him in our red zone. Defense doesn't really let Wisconsin go anywhere after the interception, so Wisconsin going to do the field goal. It hit it in off the upright, but it did bounce in, and Wisconsin will go up 12-7. Into the end zone, it's going to be Steven Bakhtiari. He beat his man, and nobody was back there to help out. And Steven is going to take advantage and give us our first lead of the game. See if Petey Previtt decides on a 2-point conversion here or the extra point. It will be the extra point with Frank Webb, and Frank is going to put it up and good. And it'll be 14-12 Piranhas. The Piranhas were able to work it into the red zone of Wisconsin, but we stalled out there, and Frank Webb is going to put up a field goal attempt, and he's going to put it through to make it 17-12. Demetrius Telford has been sacked, and it's a fumble, and Wisconsin is going to recover it, so we had it in their red zone in a scoring position, but Wisconsin is going to put a 0 up on this drive. And we're going to get sacked here. Demetrius Telford goes down, and it's an 8-yard loss. After that sack, Frank Webb has to come on for a field goal a couple of downs later, and it's going to be Frank Webb putting it up, and it is good for the Peteytown Piranhas, and it's going to be 20-12. Salisi Hwang is going to get around and get in for the sack along with Henry Carden. Adrian Grudedaria gets the block, and Adrian is into the end zone for the Peteytown Piranhas, and we're going to get a 2-score cushion here at 27-12. And it's going to be a strike by Wisconsin into the end zone here, and they're going to make it a 1-score game again. Wisconsin has used all of their timeouts now, and it's 3rd down and 5. And Demetrius Telford is going to drop back, scrambling around, throws it to the side, and it is going to be the first down. Nice toss to Steven Bakhtiari as we hit the 2-minute warning. Demetrius Telford going to set up to take the knee here, and he will. And the clock should be running all the way down, but of course, this game being what it is, it's going to punt it away for fun reasons. As we punt this one, it's going to knock down to 1 and 0, and that will expire the time here as the Peteytown Piranhas get this 27-19 victory over Wisconsin. They just really played us tough all game long, but the Peteytown Piranhas were able to prevail in this one. The Piranhas got 402 yards to Wisconsin's 260, and they got 45 yards rushing and a touchdown, while we had 120 and a touchdown. And for passing, they had 215 and we had 282. We were 6 of 13 on 3rd down, while they were 3 for 11. And for turnovers, we actually lost this battle as we forced 1 on Wisconsin and they forced 2 on us. Demetrius Telford, a little bit of an up and down effort here as he had 282 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he also lost a fumble, and he was sacked twice. Adrian Grudidaria finished with 15 carries, 111 yards, and a touchdown in a very nice effort. Stephen Bakhtiari was huge in this one with 17 catches, 156 yards, and a touchdown. And Roland Crouch had 6 for 71 and a touchdown. George Boozer had 9 tackles and 3 for a loss. Only 1 sack for the Piranhas today, as it was a combined effort by Henry Carden and Salisi Hwang, who get half a sack each. J.D. LaRoque got that early interception for us. Frank Webb went 2 for 2 on his field goals with a long of 53. In addition, on our defensive line, as Larry Ezeki will be joining us, and another cornerback will be signing on as Heath Byard will join. Our win over Wisconsin wasn't quite enough for Ty Crane to want to put us over USC. The Peteytown Piranhas will be traveling to East Lansing, Michigan to take on the Michigan State Spartans with their 87 team overall and number 17 ranking in another game of the week this season for the Piranhas, and Michigan State comes into this game 8-2.
From the shotgun, here's an inside give.
Adrian Grudidaria is going to get the blocking downfield he needs, and that is going to be a nice strike of a touchdown by Adrian Grudidaria, just using his speed and vision to get around the blocks, and the Peteytown Piranhas will be up 7-0. And we're going to get an interception here. Luis Mo skies for one and gets a nice little return just outside of their red zone with that one. A little bit of an errant pass maybe by their quarterback throwing it high, and Luis Mo was ready for it. After the interception, we get the ball just inside their red zone, but we're going to have to settle for a Frank Webb field goal attempt, and he's going to make it, and we're going to go up 10-0. And George Simonet is going to get in there for the sack. A nice job by George. Another field goal attempt for Frank Webb, this time from 43 yards out. And Frank is going to put it up, and it is off the upright and no good. My goodness. Just our guy Frank maybe having a little struggles this season with different things, and those continue right now.
On 1st and 10 here, looking to throw the ball.
And he's going to throw a pick here, and it's going to be George Boozer on that one. They went with a double fake on the play action, and then he tried, I don't know really who he was throwing to there, but it came out low, and George Boozer went down to get it. Adrian Grudidaria is going to get into the end zone again here for his second TD of the day, and we are going to go up 17-0. And Demetrius Telford is going to break the sack here, and Demetrius is into the end zone with a rushing score, and the Peteytown Piranhas will go up 24-0.
Drops back, needing a 3rd down completion here.
He throws it up for grabs, and it is going to be grabbed by our guy J.D. LaRoque, and he gets it back to their 25-yard line.
They look to throw it here on 2nd down.
And we're going to find the hole there. Stephen Bakhtiari is going to make that catch. Just ignore the ball flying away from him at the end there, but that is going to make it 31-0 with just under 2 minutes left in the first half. And here's a sack. They tried to set up a screen pass, but Henry Carden got in there so fast he took down their quarterback.
Looking to pass here on 2nd down.
And another sack for Henry Carden, and this one's going to be a forced fumble at the end, and we are going to pick it up with George Simonet, and he's going to get a scoop and score, and the Peteytown Piranhas' dominance continue in this first half as we're up 38-0. Another sack here as we're going to get him down with our guys. Looks like Stevie Johns and Henry Carden came in to help clean it up. And another sack for Henry Carden, and that's how the second half opens.
Here comes a 1st down pass attempt.
Over the middle, Adrian Grudidaria is going to shrug off a defender, and now he has a receiving touchdown to add to his 3-touchdown day, and it's 45-0 for the Piranhas.
Off the play fake, looking to throw on 1st down. Quick completion to the tight end.
Fumble here, and it's picked up by the Piranhas, and it's going to be Luis Mo, a part of his 2nd turnover today, and we are going to get it just outside, or maybe inside their red zone, and it's going to just continue this absolutely fantastic day for the Piranhas on defense.
Here's the snap, looking to throw.
And it's going to be a crosser for Stephen Bakhtiari. Demetrius Telfort with a little throw on the run action, and it's going to be 52-0 for the Piranhas. The Piranhas had everything working in this game against Michigan State as we finished with a 62-0 victory over the Spartans, and just the defense forcing turnovers and everybody combining for the shutout. Just great job on that side, and on offense just doing our thing. Nice little running game and passing game, just good balance, and just very nice victory here on the road. Not quite 500 yards in this one for the Piranhas as we had 499, but that was still 400 yards better than Michigan State, who had 95. We had 173 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns, while they had 5. And then for passing, we had 326 to their 90. And third down, we were 9 for 12, while they were 3 for 11. And turnovers, we had 1 with the backups, but we forced 6 turnovers on the Spartans. Demetrius Telfort had a solid 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks, and he was not sacked. And then John Hardy had 88 yards, 1 touchdown, and then 1 interception. Stanley Vaughn ended up leading us in rushing with 7 carries and 82 yards, while Adrian Grudedaria had 16 for 75 and 2 touchdowns, and Demetrius Telfort added a touchdown and a nice scramble drill. Stephen Bakhtiari had 13 catches, 131 yards, and 2 touchdowns, while with the backups, Carter Burns had 8 for 71 and a touchdown, and then a nice touchdown grab for Adrian Grudedaria as part of his 3-touchdown day. Several players with 5 tackles here as Assad Barmore, Henry Carden, Ron Griffin, and Jamison Addison got those. To go with his 4 TFLs, Henry Carden had 3.5 sacks and 1 sack for George Simonette, then half a sack for Tony G, Nate Reinhard, and Stevie Johns. 4 picks in this one as Isaac Priestley got 1 with the backups, then George Boozer got 1, J.D. LaRoque and Luis Moe added theirs as well. 2 forced fumbles today as Henry Carden and Stevie Johns got those, and Henry Carden had his forced fumble recovered by our guy George Simonette, and he returned it 26 yards for a score, and the other one was recovered by Luis Moe. Another miss today for Frank Webb, but he hit his 2 other kicks with a long of 47. Unfortunately, Ty Crane has decided to join the USC Trojans. A.J. Braum still at the top of the Heisman Trophy list, but Stephen Bakhtiari has found his way back into the top 5. We're going to end our regular season in Happy Valley as we take on the Penn State Nittany Lions with their 92 overall and 7-4 record this season, so maybe a little bit below their standards, but they are going to be hungry for a victory here to try to disrupt our season. Penn State is able to stonewall us on a little third and short situation, so Frank Webb is going to be out here for the field goal, and it is going to be no good. Oh my goodness, I don't understand what's going on with our guy Frank. We're going to get an interception here right after the missed field goal. George Boozer steps up and makes a nice play, and we're going to take over at their 40-yard line. Roland Crouch is going to fight his way into the end zone. 2 Penn State Nittany Lions couldn't keep him out there, and we're going to get a 7-0 lead on Penn State thanks to that interception from George Boozer and some effective play by our offense. And Henry Carden gets in. He forces a fumble. 2 guys of the Piranhas are there, but none of them pick it up, and Penn State is going to get away with that, but it looks like we knocked them out of field goal range, so we're going to force the punt. And Stephen Bakhtiari with 2 guys draped all over him is going to come away with that catch in the end zone, and we're going to go up 14-0. Henry Carden getting in there again for a sack, and this is a 5-yard loss. Can't convert on 3rd and short, so Frank Webb is going to have another opportunity at a field goal here. And Frank is going to put this one through, and it's going to be 17-0. And their quarterback is just looking around out there trying to find some kind of space, and Stevie Johns closes that space on the sack. Adrian Grudedaria gets out of there, and Adrian Grudedaria has a nice touchdown run there. The offensive line really opened up a hole, and Adrian found it and used his speed to run away from their defense, and we're going to go up 24-0. There's a fumble here, and it is going to be picked up by Penn State. I wanted to challenge it, but I was too late, and Penn State is going to be able to take over on that fumble on the punt return. After the fumble, it's going to be a field goal attempt for Penn State as they got it into our 5-yard line, but got to settle here, and it's going to be 24-3.
They'll try to get the first through the air. Pocket breaking down.
And Demetrius Telfort tried to scramble for the first down, but Penn State is going to get him down for the sack.
Trying to keep it going.
And long time here, he had some protection, but that went away as George Simonette got him for the sack.
Punt, David. And their defense is starting.
And we're going to get a sack here. George Simonette and Salisi Hwang come off the edges for those sacks.
Fires to the big fella.
Stephen Bakhtiari is going to break a tackle here, and Stephen is in the end zone, just isolated out there with that man, and as soon as he missed that tackle, Stephen had a clear runway to the end zone, and it's going to be 31-3 for the Piranhas.
Inside their 20. From the gun, wants to pass.
And he cannot get away from George Simonette as that's our 6th sack of the ball game.
Second and goal.
And Sam Manapuna is going to get this touchdown here, a short one for the Piranhas, and it's going to be 38-3. The Piranhas are going to end this regular season with a very nice 38-3 victory over Penn State. Just great defense, and as you can see, Adrian Grudedario running all over them, but just great job and good positive vibes heading into the postseason. The Piranhas finished this one with 439 yards, and Penn State had 106. We had 244 yards rushing and a touchdown, and they had -8. Then through the air, we had 195, and they had 114. We were 5 of 10 on third down, and they were 1 for 12. And for turnovers, we both had 1. Demetrius Telfort, not really asked to do a whole lot today, but he was effective, as he had 195 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no picks, and he was sacked once. Adrian Grudedario was a man possessed out there with 26 carries, 202 yards, and a touchdown. Stephen Bakhtiari with another big day as he had 10 catches, 122 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Then we had another touchdown reception for Roland Crouch, and he added 2 for 18. And Sam Manapuna, 2 for 10 and a touchdown. George Boozer had a nice day with 9 tackles and 3 for a loss. George Simonette got to the quarterback twice, while Henry Carden got there twice as well. Then we had 1 each for Stevie Johns and Salisi Hwang. Our interception today was by George Boozer. Henry Carden got a forced fumble, but we did not recover it. Another miss for Frank Webb, but he did hit a 52-yarder in this game. For his all-around day, George Boozer was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. In the Big Ten championship game, we're going to be facing off with USC, and they've hopped us for that number 1 spot while we're number 2. In the Big Ten title game, we're going to be going up against the guy who's leading for the Heisman Trophy with quarterback A.J. Brahms, and he's got 42 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions, and I checked his rushing stats, and he's also got 9 rushing touchdowns, so very formidable guy here. And we still got our guy Stephen Bakhtiari on the list with a pretty solid season himself. 2 undefeated teams going for the Big Ten championship now, as it's going to be the number 1 USC Trojans with their 99 overall against the number 2 Peteytown Piranhas with their 99 overall, and we're trying to prove to everybody that we deserve that number 1 ranking back. On the first drive of the game, USC gets it just outside of our red zone where they have to settle for a field goal attempt, and their man is going to put that through to give them the early 3-0 lead.
On 1st and 10 here, looking to throw the ball.
And Roland Crouch is going to be knocked into the end zone here. He had a nice little stop route and made some moves and got himself into the end zone for a 7-3 Piranha lead. And Demetrius Telfort is going to get the blocks, and he is going to get into the end zone for the Piranhas as we take the 14-3 lead. George Simonette is going to run him down and get the sack along with Salisi Hwang. And Daniel Moma gets the block on the edge, and that safety can't get there in time as Adrian Grudedario makes it 21-3. And Salisi Hwang gets in there for the sack, an 8-yard loss for the Piranhas.
yardage on the ground.
Adrian Grudadaria gets the block downfield. He's running down the numbers, and Adrian Grudadaria is in the end zone for the Piranhas. Great play by the Piranhas there. The offensive line blocking beautifully. Second level blocking perfect. And we are going to go up 28-3 over the USC Trojans.
Quarterback drops back. We're going to test the second.
And Henry Carden is going to get in there. He's fighting through that offensive lineman and gets him down for a 7-yard loss.
QB keeper all the way.
Demetrius Telfort takes it, and he's going to get into the end zone here, and we're going to go up 35-3 in the Big Ten championship game. The Peteytown Piranhas win yet another Big Ten championship game as they get this one 35-10 over the USC Trojans. Very proud of the Piranhas for how they conducted themselves in this one. Very good team on the other side there with their Heisman candidate, but we were able to really shut them down here and not allow them to really take over this game. And the Piranhas on offense, just very efficient, and just a very nice day for us as we celebrate with that Big Ten championship trophy once again. The Piranhas finished this title game with 395 yards to USC's 208, and they had 7 yards on the ground while we had 155 and 4 touchdowns. And through the air, they had 201 while we had 240. They were 4 of 12 on third down while we were 6 for 9. Nice. And for turnovers, they had 1, and we kept it clean. Demetrius Telfort having a nice game here as he had 235 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions, and he wasn't sacked, and he only had 1 incompletion today. Another nice performance for Adrian Grudadaria as he had 15 carries for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Demetrius Telfort had 4 for 30 and 2 touchdowns. Stephen Bakhtiari led us in receiving with 8 catches and 75 yards, while Sam Manapuna had 5 for 47, and our touchdown scorer was Roland Crouch, and he had 6 for 40. Jamison Addison with 9 tackles to lead the Piranhas, and then for sacks, we had our guy George Simonet with 1.5, Salisi Hwang with 1.5, and then 1 for Joel Okorafor, and half a sack each for Henry Carden and Stevie Johns. 1 interception today for the Piranhas as Keenan LeCount got 1 with the backups. Keenan LeCount was given the Defensive Player of the Game for the Big Ten Championship. Adrian Grudadaria was the Offensive Player of the Game. Dowell Loggins has won the Broyles Award for the Coordinator of the Year. I believe he's won it before already, so nice job by Dowell. Despite the subpar performance in the Big Ten Championship game, A.J. Brahms is still the Heisman Trophy winner. The Chuck Bednarik Award winner is George Simonet. George is also the Defensive End of the Year, and another one for George as he was the Bronco Nagurski Trophy winner. In a surprise to no one, Stephen Bakhtiari is the John Mackey Award winner, and the Lombardi Award also belongs to George Simonet. AJ got the Heisman Trophy, and our guy Stephen Bakhtiari finished 4th. It's time for some dev trait reveals on early National Signing Day. We got halfback Randy McNeil with elite development, so good start there. Then Max Littlejohn is also elite, so we got elites on both sides of the ball. Then Kevin Jones is a star. Right guard Avery Gabriel is impact. Sam linebacker Gabriel Redmond is star. Then Tobias Hayden is also another star. Then Eli Newcomb, the quarterback, is star. Then Kenya Kiki, another halfback, is star, so very good for our halfback room in the future. Then Max Meeks is another halfback who's a star dev. Could move him around, but we'll see what happens there. And then for Miles Meadows, a cornerback, he's also a star. Then Heath Byard is impact. Right edge, Greg DeMulling is a star. Left tackle, Nick Potts is impact. Wide receiver Floyd Grimes is elite, so very nice there. Right tackle Zach Skwerwanek is impact. Right edge Alfonso Wells, another star development guy. Right edge Rico Crozier is normal. And then defensive tackle Larry Ezeki is normal. And our kicker Joaquin Orlando is normal. So pretty pleased with what we got here. A couple of normals at the end there, but for the most part it's a lot of elites and stars and some impacts. So really just have the whole spectrum here, but very happy with what we've done in recruiting. In the college football playoff, you got Pitt taking on San Diego State, and then Ohio State and NC State, Clemson versus Ole Miss, and then Illinois versus Baylor. And then on the other side of things, you got the top 4 seeds with us at number 1, number 2 Miami, number 3 USC, and number 4 Michigan. So we're awaiting the team who wins the Ohio State-NC State matchup. Our matchup will be against NC State, so I was kind of expecting us to have a rematch with Ohio State, but NC State had other ideas, so we'll be playing them in Pasadena. Pitt was able to take down San Diego State, and then NC State Ohio State was a shootout for the ages as it was 51-49. Then Ole Miss was able to take down Clemson, and Baylor beat Illinois, so some lower seeds really making some noise in this college football playoff. And then it's going to be Michigan versus Pitt, us versus NC State, of course, and then USC versus Ole Miss, and Miami versus Baylor, so possibly intriguing quarterfinal round here. NC State with a big upset over Ohio State with their 86 overall, and they're upset-minded again against us, but we cannot allow that to happen as we travel to the Rose Bowl to take them on. NC State was able to get it inside of our 10-yard line, and they're going to attempt this field goal, and they're going to take the 3-0 lead near the beginning of the second quarter.
Dropping back, we're going to throw for the first down.
And this is going to be intercepted by NC State. Trying to go over the middle of the field was Demetrius Telfort, and that was not open for business, and they're going to take over at our 37-yard line.
This time had to settle for a short field goal. Can they improve upon that here?
And we're going to get an interception right back. Talia Chung undercut it there. It doesn't look like he was in a deep zone, kind of in a more short zone there, and he's able to take advantage of that and pick him off.
Design quarterback run.
And Demetrius Telfort gets hit, but he's able to fight his way through for the touchdown, and we're able to take advantage of our interception as we go up 7-3.
Looking deep down the left side.
And deep ball is not going to work out for them as Luis Moe is able to haul that one in, and we're going to take over after another interception by this defense.
Here's the snap. Looking to throw here.
And Demetrius Telfort is going to get taken down here. A nice sack from NC State.
Out of the gun now on third down. Looking for
And another interception. NC State. It's going to be a red zone one this time, preventing us from getting any points on this drive. And I think it was the same guy, I'm not exactly sure, but trying to go over the middle there, and he was waiting for it.
first and 10.
Blitz here, it's going to work out as Henry Cardin gets free and gets a little help from Assad Barmore. NC State drives down the field and gets to our red zone where they're going to be forced to try a field goal. And their kicker is going to put it up, and it is good to make it 7-6. NC State stops us and then drives again just outside of our red zone, and they're going to have to settle for another field goal attempt here. And they're going to put this one up, and it is good, and NC State has used their 3 field goals to take a 9-7 lead. Under 5 minutes left to go in this one. It's 3rd and 10 for the Piranhas. Demetrius Telfort is getting chased down, and he will go down on the sack. And we're kind of in trouble now as we're going to have to punt this one away. And big run here for NC State is going to get him past the 41. Another run here, and NC State kind of breaking free now, and they're on our side of the 50 as we have to start using timeouts. Piranhas have used all their timeouts now as it's 3rd down and 3 for NC State, and they are going to do a little play action. And he's got some time. He's going to scramble, and that's going to be the first down for NC State. We're under the 2-minute warning now. It's 3rd down and 3 from the 24-yard line. NC State coming out in a little pistol. And he's going to do another play action, throw it out to his man, and we're able to get him down with Talia Chung. NC State going for it all here on 4th down and 3. The time is at 45 seconds. And they are going to... Looks like they're just going to let this go, or no, they're going to run a play. And he's going to do a pump fake. He's going to launch it deep, and it is incomplete. So 32 seconds left for the Piranhas. Demetrius Telfort is going to scramble. He's going to release one, and it is going to be complete for the first down. Demetrius looking, he's going to throw to the outside, and it is intercepted by NC State, and that will do it for the Peteytown Piranhas this season. Unbelievable. The winning streak is going to come to an end. The national champion streak is going to come to an end, and they can raise that, whatever that is. I'm not really sure what it is, but they can raise that in celebration as they have taken down the Peteytown Piranhas. Just... That's a heartbreaker of a loss. We just couldn't get anything done on offense, only scoring the 7. They were able to get 3 successful drives for field goals, and they're going to knee it out here, and that is going to do it. And the Peteytown Piranhas, after so many seasons, such a long winning streak, finally take an L. And really, the big play in this one was the interception that NC State had in their red zone that prevented us from putting anything. Like, we could have put a field goal up there, and maybe this game looks a little different, but it was not to be on this day, as the Peteytown Piranhas are going to lose here in the quarterfinal. In this game, they had 259 yards to our 217, and they had 86 yards rushing, while we had 36 and a touchdown. And for passing, we just outgained them 181 to 173. They were 6 of 13 on third down, while we were 3 for 10. Then for turnovers, they had 2, and they forced 3 on us. Really no other way to say it. Demetrius Telford had his worst game at the worst possible time for us, as he had 181 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, including that one I mentioned in the red zone. Just, the guy made a great play, but just something you can't do, especially in scoring position like that in a close game like this. And he was also sacked twice. Adrian Grudedario was bottled up pretty good as well, with 13 carries and 41 yards with just 3 yards a carry. Roland Crouch had 4 catches for 59 yards, while Dylan DeLuca had 7 for 50 in place of Stephen Bakhtiari, who got a little banged up early in the game. Junior Nauta and Luis Moe led us with 10 tackles. Only 1 sack in this game, as it was a combined effort by Assad Barmore and Henry Carden with half a sack each. Luis Moe got that nice deep ball interception, and Talia Chung got an interception as well. In the rest of the college football playoff bracket, you had Pitt taking down Michigan, then USC taking down Ole Miss, and Miami beating Baylor. In the semifinal, NC State took down Pitt, so they advanced to the national championship, and Miami played USC in a big shootout there, and they were able to overcome them. And then in the national championship, Miami beat NC State, so our rivals have won the national championship, so you hate to see that, but it is what it is in this season, and unfortunately that's the way it goes. Our final season stats for this season: Demetrius Telfort finishes with 3,710 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. On the ground, Adrian Grudedario led us with 213 carries, 1,327 yards, and 11 touchdowns, and Demetrius Telfort added 11 touchdowns of his own. In the receiving game, Stephen Bakhtiari led us with 144 catches, 1,348 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Roland Crouch had 61 catches, 813 yards, and 9 touchdowns. And Adrian Grudedario had 66 catches, 616 yards, and 4 touchdowns. George Boozer was our leader in tackles with 101, and then for TFLs we had George Simonet with 35, Henry Carden with 30, and Salisi Hwang with 27, as well as Junior Nauta 26, Stevie Johns 24, George with 21. Our leader in sacks was George Simonet with 19.5, and then Henry Carden had 15.5, Stevie Johns 12.5, and Salisi Hwang with 12. As well as being our leading tackler, George Boozer was our leading interception getter, as he had 6, and then Luis Moe had 5. Then he had 3 each for J.D. LaRoque and Jamison Addison, and 2 apiece for Talia Chung and Walt Bender. In defensive touchdowns, Stevie Johns, of all guys, had 2, and then we had 1 each for J.D. LaRoque, Jamison Addison, George Simonet, Salisi Hwang, and Assad Barmore. For pass deflections, Walt Bender led us with 9, and then you had 7 apiece for Jamison Addison and Landry Romo. Henry Carden led us with 5 forced fumbles, and then he had 3 for Salisi Hwang, 2 for George Machado, then 1 each for George Boozer, Junior Nauta, Talia Chung, Stevie Johns, and George Simonet. On the fumble recovery side of things, you had Stevie Johns with 2, George Simonet with 1, then 1 each for Salisi Hwang, Jamison Addison, Assad Barmore, and Luis Moe. Taekwon Paul had our only blocked kick of the year. And then we ended up with 5 safeties this season, as George Simonet, George Machado, Junior Nauta, Damian Suttle, and Eric Lopez got those. Bit of an off year for Frank Webb in his senior season, as he was 18 of 24 on field goals with a 75% conversion rate and a long of 61. Moving to career stats, Roland Crouch ended his career with 134 catches, 1,733 yards, and 20 touchdowns. For his career, Junior Nada had 206 tackles, 32 for a loss, 3.5 sacks, and 4 interceptions. And then for his deflections, he had 8, and then forced fumbles, he had 1, and then all the way over here, he had 1 safety. For George Boozer, he leaves us with 205 tackles, 39 for a loss, and 4.5 sacks, with 8 interceptions. And then he had 2 defensive touchdowns, 7 pass deflections, and he had 3 forced fumbles and 2 fumble recoveries. Henry Carden leaves us with 39 sacks, didn't quite get to that 40 sack threshold, and he also had 68 tackles for a loss. And George Simonette had 25 sacks and 47 tackles for a loss. Frank Webb leaves us with 95 made field goals out of 105 attempts, which was good for a 90% during his career, so you can really see how good he was before this senior season, but it is what it is. And then he had a long of 63. In the players leaving stage, we got 4 guys looking to possibly transfer, as you got quarterback John Hardy and quarterback Nick Melendez, so really hope Nick decides to stay because he's got that elite development. And then Delonte Metcalf at star development, he's a linebacker. And then halfback Trent Blanco at impact, so we'll see what we can do with these guys, starting with John. For playing time, he is not going to come back to us, not really surprised there. And then for Nick Melendez, it's also playing time. He will not return as well. And then for Delonte Metcalf, playing style, he is not returning. And then for Trent Blanco, he has also failed, so can't convince any of these guys to come back. Looking at our departing seniors now, you got Junior Nada, who is a fantastic linebacker for us, very, very athletic. And then you have Raymond De La Rosa, who helped lead our offensive line this year. And Henry Carden really put himself in Juan Ivy territory as far as great defensive tackles to come through the Piranhas program, and he was just an absolute physical and athletic freak. And you got Roland Crouch, who was just a very unique player at our receiver position. You never really had anybody like him before, so he will be missed. Then you got Sam Manapuna, not putting up a lot of numbers this year, but pretty reliable guy. And then Assad Barmore, another linebacker who helped really make that linebacking group really soar this year. And then George Boozer, maybe one of the best of the bunch as far as his production goes, especially this season. And then George Simonette, just absolutely fantastic off the edge for us this season, along with Salisi Hwang. And then James Lorenzo, got him to boost up a little bit with a few extra skill points, so he should be able to get to the NFL. Then you got some borderline NFL guys with Anthony Perkins, Adrian Gruttadaria, and PJ Clinton. And for Stanley Vaughn, maybe wish he could have had another year with us, because he was pretty good when he came in with the backups and other times when Adrian went down, but he is a senior, so we'll be losing him. And then, of course, you got to shout out Frank Webb. This season, notwithstanding with his production, he was a very good kicker for us. This senior class was able to get their fair share of national championships, and they are the class that helped us reach 100 straight victories as a program. Unfortunately, they are the class where the winning streak came to an end, as well as the national championship streak, but I don't want that to diminish everything that they were able to accomplish here while they were with us. 10 Peteytown Piranhas joined the ranks of the NFL this season, including 5 first-rounders, and those guys include Roland Crouch, Sam Manapuna, Ramon De La Rosa, Henry Carden, and Junior Nada. Then in the 3rd round was Assad Barmore. In the 4th round, James Lorenzo, as well as Salisi Hwang. And then, of course, George Boozer got into that round as well. And then round 5 was George Simonette. In the transfer portal, not really looking to add a whole bunch of guys, just a few positions of need, but we definitely need quarterback because we only have 2 on the roster at the moment, and Donnie Streeter has some pretty good accuracies and good athleticism, and he's also got bronze mobile resistance. And then we got to find a Mike linebacker, and Greg Keenan is the top guy I want. He's got that 93 acceleration, good hit power in pursuit, and 83 zone coverage to go with some abilities. And then we got right guard Keelan Talbot, just well-rounded in his archetype, and you can see that his abilities and all his statistics are really good, so really would like to add him to the line. And then we don't really need this wide receiver, Kamani Harper, but could not ignore that 97 speed and 95 acceleration, so we're just going to see if we can go after him and get him, but not the end of the world if he doesn't come to us. Donnie Streeter has moved us up to third on his board, so we'll see if we can overtake these other teams with lower tier pipelines than us. And then Greg Keenan has us in first place, and we got him on a week 4 visit. And then for Keelan Talbot, LSU is in front of us, so we'll see if we can do anything with this. And Keelan's a little bit like Kamani, where we don't really necessarily need him with the right guard position, but he would be nice to have. And speaking of Kamani, he's in first place over Pitt, so we'll see if we can add this very athletic wide receiver to our team. In week 3, Donnie Streeter has us in first place now, and we got him on a week 4 visit. And for his recruiting, he's got a hard sell, so feel pretty good about getting him now. And then for Greg Keenan, he's gotten a little bit of a lead now over these other teams, and we have him on a visit next week. And for his recruiting, he's on a double soft sell. And then for Keelan Talbot, LSU has really got a big lead now, and we got him on a visit this week, so we'll see what happens. And then there's another sell it could be, but basically if it's not football influencer, we're not going to have a chance anyway, so we're just going to take the chance here. And then for Kamani Harper, we're still outlasting Pitt for him, and we got him on a hard sell. And there is the commitment from Donnie Streeter to be our third quarterback. And Greg Keenan filling in a big need for us at Mike linebacker. We also got a nice infusion of talent at wide receiver with Kamani Harper. We didn't have enough to convince Keelan Talbot to join us, as he's going to go to LSU, but we're just going to wait and see till the end of the transfer portal what kind of depth traits these guys have. Looking at these depth traits now, Donnie Streeter is normal, and then Greg Keenan has impact, Kamani Harper has impact, and Keelan Talbot has impact. So, alright, with the transfer portal, wasn't looking for a whole lot anyway, but that's where we're at. For this recruiting class, we ended up with 3 elite dev players, and then we got 9 star devs, so I think over 50% of our recruits having a good dev trait is a good sign for the Peteytown Piranhas. Probably the most notable move we made during the position changes stage is put Tobias Hayden at tight end. He was a contested specialist athlete, but with where we're at, I think he would be much better for us at tight end. Heading into training results, defensive tackle Stevie Johns has upgraded to a star dev. For quarterback Demetrius Telford, he's an 89 true overall and 91 with tactician boost, and I'm saving those points for next season, so hopefully 89's not enough for him to go pro, but we did that by getting his IQ to 70 and his quickness up to 87 speed and 91 acceleration. Channing Preston looks to have a big role as a halfback next season, and he's at 89 overall, 91 with tactician boost, and we hit his cap in quickness as he's got 90 speed and 99 acceleration, and then we also boosted up his IQ to have 89 ball carrier vision and 83 awareness. And for his abilities, he already had these. He's got gold safety valve and gold takeoff. Transfer wide receiver Kamani Harper is a 92 overall, and we got him there by getting his hands to a good place at 92 catching, 99 spec catch, and 90 catch in traffic, and his route running is in a good place as well. And for his abilities, he's got bronze sidestep, silver double dip, and bronze takeoff. Demetrius Brown is an 86 overall, 88 with tactician boost, and we got him there by maxing out his quickness at 97 speed and 99 acceleration, and then we got his hands up to a good place at 85 catching, and then we boosted up his route running a tick, and for his abilities he already had these with platinum cutter and bronze double dip. Lorenzo Ruggins is an 87 overall, and he goes up 1 with tactician boost at 88, and for him he's got his quickness at its cap with a 99 speed and 94 acceleration. We also got his hands to 86 catching and 94 spec catch, and we boosted up his route running to a good place, and for his abilities he's got platinum double dip. Stephen Bakhtiari putting in some work this offseason as he's a 95 overall, 98 with tactician boost, and for him he's hit his cap in route running, he maxed out his hands, almost hit his cap in blocking, and then he maxed out in quickness, and he also boosted his IQ up a little bit, so just a very good overall offseason for him. And then for his abilities, he already had the platinum sure hands. Guard Joshua Stewart is the latest 99 overall for our program, and he got there by maxing out his run blocking and pass blocking, almost reaching his cap and power, and then really boosting up his IQ, and he already had all of his platinum abilities with screen enforcer, quick step, option shield, quick drop, and outside shield. We got another very talented guard here with 98 overall and 99 with a little boost, Joey Bush. And for him, he got his run blocking to its cap, his pass blocking was at its cap, and we maxed out his power and got him some IQ as well. And then for his abilities, he's got Platinum Strong Grip, Bronze Workhorse, Platinum Second Level, Platinum Inside Shield, and Bronze Ground and Pound. Another very talented offensive lineman here with offensive tackle Iosefa Wang. He's a 99 true overall, and for his ratings he's maxed out his pass blocking, run blocking, power, and IQ, and we got his footwork up a little bit as well as his quickness. And for his abilities, they're all platinum with strong grip, workhorse, second level, inside shield, and ground and pound. Stevie Johns is going to lead our defensive line as he's an 88 overall and a 90 with tactician boost. And for his ratings, he's got run stopping to its cap, and his finesse moves were at 95, and quickness pretty good at 80 speed and 83 acceleration. And we boosted up his IQ to 72 awareness and 82 play rec. And for his abilities, he's got Platinum Takedown and Pocket Disruptor. Ron Griffin has become our best linebacker at 97 overall and 99 with Tactician Boost. And for his ratings, his quickness was already at 93 speed and 97 acceleration. The biggest leap he took was in pass coverage. He's got 96 zone and 91 man. And run stopping took a little step forward. And his IQ also took a nice leap with 83 awareness and 87 play rec. And for his abilities, he's got the Platinum Blow Up and Silver Wrap Up. Greg Keenan is another good linebacker for us at 91 overall. And for him, we got his IQ to a nice spot at 86 awareness and play rec. And he also got his run stopping up a little bit as well as his pass coverage to 91 zone. And for his abilities, he already had these with Bronze Wrap Up, Gold Blow Up, and Silver Hammer. Luis Mo is another 99 overall player on this team, and we got him there by getting his man coverage, zone coverage, and quickness maxed out. We also did some work on his run stopping, and for his abilities, he's got Platinum Blanket Coverage, Jammer, and House Call, and he's got Silver Ball Hawk, and finally Platinum Knockout. Cornerback Walt Bender is a 97 overall, and we got him there by getting his man coverage to its cap and zone coverage maxed out, and we also got his cap and quickness, and we boosted his hands a little bit. And then for his abilities, he's got Platinum Robber, Platinum Knockout, and Silver Blanket Coverage and Ball Hawk. Free safety Talia Chung is a 97 overall, 98 with tactician boosts, and for his ratings, his zone coverage has been maxed out, his man coverage has hit its cap, as well as his quickness. And for his abilities, he's got Platinum Ball Hawk, Platinum House Call and Robber, and Gold Knockout. Strong safety Jamison Addison is a 91 overall, 93 with tactician boost, and he got his zone coverage up a little bit as well as his man to its cap. Then his quickness is at its cap, and run support went up a little bit. And for his abilities, they stayed the same at Platinum House Call, Robber, and Gold Knockout. One last order of business in this off-season is Petey Previtt leveled up again, so going to Program Builder, we're going to go to Relationship Builder and get this Tier 3 ability to max out this tree. This season had some memorable moments, top among them being reaching that 100 straight win milestone, which was really wonderful to see for the program, and we also got another Big Ten championship. But ultimately, I feel like this was a very disappointing season, especially in that quarterfinal game. Just having the season end there was very, very upsetting to me. I wish we could have gone further, especially like we really were better than NC State, but on that day they were better than us, so gotta tip your cap to them for that. But I just feel for Demetrius Telford in that game. He didn't perform to the standard that he wants to be at, so hopefully he can bounce back from that this coming season, and hopefully the Piranhas can get back to the mountaintop of college football next season. I'll see you guys in the next video.